Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter, and our guests today are Sarah Mitchell and Trisha Lake, and this is Smart Business Mo's.
Woohoo! Hey, everybody. Yeah.
We are gonna have some fun today.
You always got to be a little bit nervous if you got Trisha because you never know. She's a wild card. Am I right, Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
That's
And,
true. Anytime we are anywhere and Trisha's not there, everybody's like, you just don't know what she's going to get up to. She's
when Trisha's not there or when Trisha is there?
No, when you're not there. Actually, when you're there too. You're like waiting for it. Yeah, both.
there was a time, Trisha, that you would say something and we'd all be looking at each other and kind of, chuckling to ourselves. It's like, I can't, and we don't, it's not even a surprise anymore.
Yeah.
You have a gift.
Sarah and I were actually talking about that recently, about some stunt that we pulled, and people looked at us and they were totally unsurprised by us, and we laughed more about the unsurprised part than the actual anything. Like they just were unfazed by it.
I feel like every time you are around in any kind of an environment, we can count on some kind of a huge belly laugh of some type of a joke or something. But I know I'm going to end up being the butt of some joke. Or Tom will be. Tom will be more than me.
Oh, Tom.
Well, actually, we were going to talk about, success in the residential cleaning industry, and we could just tell stories of, Trisha. I mean, we didn't ask permission, but then again, we did say, what do you want to talk about? And nobody ruled anything out.
No.
We could fill this whole hour up with
of
just
Trisha
pranks.
Stories.
We could literally fill this whole hour with pranks, no problem. When you guys kidnapped Derek, right?
And most of these all happened at foundations. This is the fun part of foundations.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the part nobody really talks about. Although I'll never forget, I don't know if it was foundations or scale, I'm not sure where it was, when you all put on your gangster rap and your clothes. I'll never forget that, coming down the stairs. Oh, that was
and Ben Ferris was our cameraman.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. I need that video. I don't have it.
He was our hype man.
Sarah, how did you know? I need to go get mine too. I need to go get mine.
Turn it around.
Oh God. Okay, well, here's another story.
Okay, Sarah, how many times when we are somewhere do we say, "Oh, there's another Tom Stewart"? That
all the time, ever since then.
Yeah, ever since then. Hey, Dawn. Yeah, no, you didn't kidnap anyone at Foundations. But Dawn's going to be at Foundations this year again, so totally looking forward to it.
Matt Ricketts is in the house.
Wow, he was fast.
All right.
Thought he was going to be later.
Maybe. I'll be driving for a bit, so I'll just be listening.
All right. Well, we'll let you listen. So what exactly? We're talking about business success and mastering sort of the fundamentals of business. Which
actually we were, but we're supposed to be.
We're supposed to be. Yeah. So the reason why I kept harassing you guys, to tell me what you want to talk about, is not because I wanted you to feed me lines, but because I feel like both of you have done such amazing things since we first met. In so many different ways. I mean, you're both seen as top leaders, and I can remember both of you kind of being not Trisha, not as much, of course, as Sarah, obviously, but both being less confident and less feeling the success there. But would you guys say that you both are okay, feeling better? I mean, I don't know that anybody ever feels wholly successful, right? But I don't know, maybe Matt does. Oh, he's got no.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I think that people do look at me and see successful, but I don't see myself that way.
Yeah. I know you don't.
I still see myself as growing and learning and striving, but I can tell you that I'm definitely in a massively different place right now than I was prior to going to foundations, for sure.
Yeah. So you wrote a testimonial, and somebody actually reached out to me because of your testimonial. Because
Oh, cool.
the thing that you wrote in there that really was like, oh my gosh, this is me, is when you said you thought you had it together. You thought you knew what you were doing. You went to foundations and you were like, what the heck? And you really didn't think that it was going to be that useful or that necessary. And she was like, this is me. I feel like I have it. And she's like, but I'm not at Trisha Lake's status. So I want to be Trisha Lake. And I was like,
Yeah. I really think the biggest thing that foundations helped me with was two different directions. It was learning my numbers. So by the time I went to foundations, I had already hit, we already scaled our company to be $1 million company. And that's always been like the goal of a maid service, right? Is to get to that shiny $1 million mark. And we already had hit that. And then, I came to you guys and knew into into everyone. And I was in a weird spot because I was in this weird depression, and I had hit my $1 million mark, and so what we would deem as a successful maid service, and yet I didn't know where to go from there. I thought, well, now what? Like I already hit the goal that most maid services never hit, and now what does my life look like? And I know that you guys definitely help reset my goals and aspirations and just refocus and create just much larger goals. And you kind of got my head right. And then on the other side of things, when I went to foundations, I didn't know any KPIs. I didn't know any numbers. I led my company with my heart and my soul. And I mean, Matt and me still talk about it. And he's like, I have no idea how you got your company that big, Trisha, or how you got your company that big without knowing this stuff. And I'm just like, with rainbows and butterflies and happiness.
No, I always say you've done it through sheer force of personality. I know how you did it.
Okay.
It was through brute force. But
you worked really hard. I remember foundations. I remember a one-on-one that we had, and you worked your ass off.
Yeah, it's not by accident. I know that there's easier paths sometimes, and but you do a lot through. There's things that people are so much better than we are at, and the culture at your business is really
amazing,
where you've put a lot of energy into, and I think it's paid dividends. I'm jealous of the loyalty and the just how long your people stay. That speaks a lot about the place you're creating.
But that is what she means by sunshine and rainbows, right? Yeah,
sure.
Strives hard, but she also really builds her people up, and
I really care about my people.
Yeah,
that's just the center of our company, and so when I went to foundations and I started learning, I've always known my people side, right? Of take care of my people, and that's been ultimately probably a big reason of why we've been successful. But the part I didn't know was our KPIs, our core metrics, our numbers. I didn't know that stuff. And it was very frustrating for me to go into foundations and have to search up and learn all this stuff. And it honestly took me a couple of years, even after foundations, to fully grasp those numbers well. But that was a massive turning point, because when you know your numbers, you can see what's coming and what's not going to work out in your favor. So while happiness and sunshine and personality maybe got me where I was, it probably wouldn't have got me where I am today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, I absolutely couldn't have. But it's kind of funny because you didn't know the numbers at all, right? You were and you really struggled. And Sarah's the opposite. Sarah's man, all over those numbers, spreadsheets for days, right?
Spreadsheet. She's gonna make spreadsheet after spreadsheet.
Oh my gosh. Sarah's stressed out. Oh, good. We're gonna see 5 more spreadsheets. Or how many more pages about something. And I when you first came to foundation, Sarah, you remember you were like, all hail Trisha Lake.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty sure the reason I went was to finally talk to Trisha Lake.
Yeah, you did.
And get in with her, which I succeeded because now we're like best friends.
You should still praise me though, Sarah. Keep doing that though.
And actually true best friends, not like you just talk about like, oh yeah, we're best friends now, we're good friends. You guys are like best friends.
Yeah.
Like you vacation together, you bring your families together for stuff. I mean, really,
we like each other.
Best friends. A little bit. Yeah. I had something I wanted to say about Sarah when you first came. Oh, remember, I'm not sure which year this was, Sarah, that you came, where I'm pretty sure it was Derek. He was pulling up different companies.
2018.
Exactly. Which one was it? Like second one?
My first foundations experience, 2018.
Oh, your first one. Okay. And so Derek was pulling up different companies just to see where they ranked. Do you remember this, Tom?
Ranked from an SEO standpoint?
Yeah, Google. He was just Googling like different cities and, maid service and such city, maid service. Now, Phoenix, most people would consider to be pretty large, large market, right? And we've got Sarah here at Foundations. So nobody that Derek is searching is coming up like even on that first page, really. And he puts up maid service Phoenix. Nobody is expecting to see, Eco Mama, top spot. We're all like, what in Phoenix, right? Do you guys remember that? That was crazy.
I remember. Well, the worst part was I just needed a breather. So I walked upstairs in my room and I heard everyone cheering. And I came down and I missed the whole thing.
Oh, I forgot you weren't there.
I was like, I just need like 5 minutes. I need to breathe. We're in class all day. And I missed the whole ordeal.
You were down at the beach, weren't you?
I know, that's the strangest thing. I
might have been at the beach, not my room.
Yeah. That was the thing that I was like, I'm not buying that. Sarah was up in her room when she could have been at the beach. Yeah, no, not buying that. So, Matt, when you came to Foundations, you were a presenter, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so your perspective was a lot different.
I still learned a ton. So I came in to do some marketing presentations, but I will say we were not as sophisticated as we are financially today before Foundations. Like we always had a good sense of what we were making, but not to the level that like you all taught where you were breaking it down like per job. Like, it's like the old adage, we win some, we lose some, right? But we make it all up in the wash, right? But it's worse than that in cleaning because it's like we lose a little bit on every job, but we make it up in volume kind of thing, like we were making money, but we just didn't know which jobs were profitable. And so the perspective was, I came in to teach some things, but the financial modeling, I took that spreadsheet, the Foundation's growth model, and just started chipping away and figured out some things pretty quickly that our COGS, direct labor costs, were probably like 45%. And, it was manageable, but it wasn't where it could be and still, offer people a good job. So first thing I did afterwards was I raised our prices like 7 or 8%. I was like, well, if we're selling this easy, we need to be charging more because we need to make more. And anyway, so we had a lot of big takeaways from that event.
And you wound up making more money after that event.
Yeah. And being able to pay people more and attract better talent. And, I'll tell you something. This is the truth. I have this conversation with a lot of people in the industry. This is going to sound like a scary number, but a lot of you guys are probably getting there. Our average technician is making close to $24 an hour now. And and that's with tips too. That's another $2 of tips, kind of pushing that up a little bit. But that's in Made Central. That's the number that shows up, before vacation and all that stuff. $24 an hour is the average. If you would have told me that when I went to Foundations, I would have said, well, I'll be out of business. I don't know how I'm going to make those kind of numbers work. Right. But, that that wage, I feel like, is starting to be where we can compete for talent and people will stay for the job. You start getting into that $50,000 a year job, that becomes a career at that point.
Yeah.
So we're getting to that point. And I tell people all the time, I was like, I would have never believed that like 10 years ago. Like I would, I don't know what we were probably averaging, 13 or 14. I don't know. Do you guys remember where you're at?
I know that like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, we were starting at like 13 or 14 an hour. And same thing with you, Matt, like my wages have skyrocketed. And I wouldn't have been able to raise my wages like I have if I didn't know my numbers, because I always was very hesitant on a lot of my financials just because I didn't know certain things. And so I kept very, what is that word?
You kept tight reins on things.
I kept very tight on everything because I didn't know my numbers well enough. And so I had fear, and so the more I know my numbers, the more I can understand these can work out and I can do this and that, and this will happen. And just all very beneficial for everybody,
I love that
Yeah.
you said that, Trisha, that you had fear, because I would bet that a ton of people out there, like 95% of the people that are going to hear this, see this, would not ever think that Trisha Lake feels fear.
I do. I feel fear. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you guys just almost think I'm this hard ass, but I feel fear and I feel scared at times. And
Trisha, both could be true.
What?
Both of those things can be true.
What things?
You can have fear and still be a hard ass.
Yeah, I guess I am, and I go back to a decision I was trying to make here, I think at Foundations. And Tom, I still remember it today because I still use it today and I still use it with my management. And I probably told you this multiple times, but it was a conversation of, good.
Before you say it, I think I already know what it is. You've said it so much, right?
Yeah, it's part of me.
Yeah, go.
It's a reverse. Is it a reversible decision?
Yeah.
I say it all the time.
I use that too.
Yeah.
What?
I use that too. I was just thinking it today about something, and that came in my head, and that must be where it's from.
Yeah.
So I do. I say it all the time and I got it from Tom, and I was in a spot, and I said, I'm scared to move forward. I don't know which way to go. And Tom said, he goes, Trish, is it a irreversible decision? If it is reversible, then move forward. If it's not reversible, then those are the decisions you need to be more careful on and think through a lot more carefully. And when I've gotten in really stuck positions and I've been scared to move forward, I think I still hear Tom's words telling me that is this reversible? Yes or no? I just told one of my managers, my general manager, like 2-3 weeks ago, the same thing. Is it a reversible decision? I think the majority of things in our industry are reversible. I think that there's a few things that are not reversible. And those few things you have to be very careful on. For me, it's pay structure, it's pay type things. Matt knows, me and Matt have been talking for months about a new pay structure that I have done. But for the most part, most decisions are reversible, and you can try things, and if they don't work, you pivot and you move forward. Matt looks like he just ran somebody over.
I know. I'm like, Matt, you okay over there?
Big bump. I'm almost to my office. So the office. So I just got done with Forum, which is like EO, an entrepreneur group that I'm in, and that that vulnerability of feeling the way that you just described, though, of not knowing the answer. That was a big part of today's discussion. And these are all almost everyone in my forum has a $5 million to $10 million business, and it's still you still come across stuff you don't know the answer to. So having these peer groups is incredibly valuable. That was another thing that came out of Foundations, was just friendships and just the peer groups over time that you build, and being able to ask people these questions is very valuable. So
absolutely. And the majority of us too, it's not to be able to talk with different entrepreneurs, and especially in your same industry that knows your same struggles. you know, like I love talking to all entrepreneurs and business owners, but every business is different and you have different problems for every business. So it is really nice to be able to have a group from the same industry going through the same things that can help.
Yeah, we talk constantly. We travel constantly together. We formed really like true friendships. And I know Matt talked on that before on one of these calls about me, Ben, and Trisha. We really formed like a real friendship, and we go to events together and hold each other accountable. And a lot of that blossomed from Foundation.
I saw you and Ben last month, or in January. I saw you and Ben in Phoenix. I guess that was now a little more than a month ago, but not too long ago.
And Sarah, Ben, and I just got back from a trip a couple days ago.
The ARCSI event, right?
Yeah.
You guys got back from that. So I rarely see one of you without at least one of the other of you, right? Of the threesome. There's rarely like one of you. So yeah, I know that people make really strong connections. It's just a different kind of environment, and you can find your peeps there too.
Yeah. All three of you at our Phoenix event in January as well. I mean, you guys are hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foundations is where I finally got Trisha to be my friend, and she's been ever since. So that was 2018, and I got her.
She reminds me of all the time.
Yeah.
You know, do you know Sarah? Gosh, Sarah will pull up and she will remind me that she's like, you know, you used to ignore me all the time. And she'll pull up this like Facebook message from like, I don't even know, years ago of her just like trying to talk to me on social media. And I just ignored her the whole time. I have like tunnel vision. Like you won't see me on like random groups, like getting into the weeds on stuff. Like I just don't believe in a lot of time wasting stuff. And so everyone that used to inbox me back in the day, I was like, I don't got time for it.
That's what I was telling Tom about you coming on Smart Business Modes. I'm like, she's got to find value because she doesn't just waste time. You know, she's gonna do the thing. So, and you are always like that. That's another thing that I love about y'all friendship. You're all three very different people, very different entrepreneurs, but you have all found just really strong respect and admiration for each other. That really shines through.
The only thing that aggravates the crap out of me is neither Ben or Sarah will listen to me. They don't listen to me. And I'm like,
listen, they just won't admit it.
I told you 15 times to do this, and then it turns bad, and you could have listened to me. I saw this coming.
Trisha, I might be able to say the same thing to you.
Yeah, but you know, you've got a lot of commonality. I mean, you've watched each other grow as leaders, and you know, grow your businesses, and you know, there's bonds that form through that. So there's a lot of differences, but there's, you know, a lot of commonality in some of the areas that's important.
The cool thing else about foundations and scaling, just like getting to see everyone's different businesses, is we all do things differently. Like there's really not one right way to run a maid service. I mean, there's a lot of wrong ways, but I mean, like what I do in my company, I mean, Liz, you did that class with me here this summer, right? And I do a lot of touchy-feely, emotional like stuff that Ben is not into, right? Yeah. And everyone just runs their company so different. Where I'm not the numbers person, right? But I'll come and give you a hug, you know, and we're just different, and it's kind of cool that just.
So I'm not a hugger, but I think you're onto the right track, though. I think what businesses need more of is that connection. And so I'm trying to bring that into it's not traditionally been really important to me, but I do think it's incredibly important to our staff. And I think I think it would be a mistake not to encourage people to find how to make their staff love the job, and not like love us, or like find love in the work at least. Right. And I think that's absolutely what you're doing. And you're making the job have a lot of. I've heard Liz say this, and I'm so like talk about like not listening well. Like talked to me for years about creating meaning, matter, measure, and how important it is. It's just like, I'm gonna do it military style. That's how I grew up. Like, that's not gonna work in this day and age. There is something to finding love in the work and to creating these environments and so I'm learning that from when I'm like seeing other people's businesses, I'm looking at their culture as much as I'm like, I'll tell you what, you come and visit our office and we've got a good culture, but there's still things we could be better on. I'd give us a B. I'd give a lot of you guys A pluses at the cultures that you're creating. And most businesses, I'd say their culture is a D. So like us being a B is like, that's okay, but it's not where I think it could be. And anyway, there's so much to learn. Like operationally, I think we have like really great, business systems and the way that we run our meetings and the way that we, have our leadership team is probably, in our industry, like leading, but man, there's so much to learn from other people in terms of culture. And that's so valuable in this industry. We talk about it a lot, but it's so easy to overlook.
So to Trisha's
Absolutely.
point, though, there's more than one way to make that work, and that's kind of what foundations is all about. You're right.
True.
You got to know the numbers, and we get into the numbers a lot, but there's a lot of different ways to use those numbers to build your business. The same with culture, the same, with team size. I mean, you go across the board because we've got examples of various companies. You guys are all examples of very successful residential cleaning entrepreneurs, CEOs of your businesses, but you all do things differently. But there's things you've got in common, the core, foundational principles, if you will. You guys all check those boxes.
Yeah.
That has
Yeah, and
Actually-
I loved.
everybody.
I'd love
I was gonna say you guys all visited us. Sorry.
Yeah. What I was going to say is we all, I loved seeing the ways everybody did things, and I still do. We have a core group of people we see on a regular basis through traveling for cleaning business events, and you take pieces of what fits here and there. So we're not copying someone's exact process unless we are with permission. But typically I'm taking, like Trisha, I learned from Trisha last year, my hiring process was probably the worst in the cleaning industry. I went to Trisha's, I took hers, I tweaked it to add my flair to it, and now I have this beautiful process. So that was the beauty of foundations when I was just getting my business started, is learning all the different ways and then taking the pieces that worked and forming something that just fit for me and my culture.
So that's the piece that I think gets lost sometimes. That yes, there are a ton of ways of running a business, but you can't just take what somebody else does and just do that in your business. You have to do exactly what you just said, Sarah. You have to take it and you have to mold it, modify it, and shape it for your business so that you get the best from your business. I feel like that is a fairly new concept in this industry. There was, for the longest time, people were like, no, you have to do it this way. You have to only, run solos or run teams, or you have to pay this way, but it's been proven time and time again that, it's not true. Who was it, Tom, that I think it was Yusuf Memetoglu that said, and his company's fairly large. I don't know how big it is now, but it was a large company at the time. And didn't he say, Tom, that he does at least the last interview of every single hire in his company, including his cleaning professionals, every single hire? And I think that most people would say, no, when you get to a certain size, you can't do that anymore. That's not your job.
He's got a very large business and he does that. And their primary mode of selling is in-home sale, free, no obligation consultation.
Yeah.
They still have in-home estimates.
Yeah. And I think when we had him on, it was quite a while ago. Do you remember how many cleaning professionals he had at that time?
It's probably pushing 100. I know his revenue number. I mean, he shared it. It was like 7 million.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I thought at that time, I was like, well, I always believed that there are a lot of different ways to run a company. And I believe that at my heart and at my core. But that one was like, okay, that's a new one. I like that.
But
As
he
you do that.
he does the final interview for everybody they hire. He still does that, or at least he did when we talked to him a year or so ago.
Yeah. That's
And it
great.
might have been longer than a year. We're getting to the point, Liz, where it all just kind of blurs, doesn't it?
It's true. Yeah.
You
it's
know
true.
what? We're coming up on our 4th year anniversary. We started doing this in March of 2020.
Hey, are you guys seeing the comments and stuff coming in?
Yeah, we're putting them on the screen. Can you see them when we put them up, Trisha?
I can, yeah. Just we're not responding to them, so just wanted to make sure.
We usually put them up on the screen and respond in real time.
Okay.
So Matt was talking when Mark and then he left. So that's why I left that one from Mark up for so long. But because I know Matt couldn't see it because he was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something I wanted to say is about foundations is a little bit different than Trisha's experience. She was at a very high level of success when she went. I was like a lost puppy. So I had built my business. After high school, I jumped straight into the workforce. I didn't have any college degree or any business experience. So I believe the reason I have a level of success in my business today is because of foundations. It was like getting a business degree in a week. So it was very powerful. The amount of information we learned in 1 week, I equated to getting a degree. And from there is when I could start scaling my business and learning how to run it the right way after running it through years of chaos, just being lost. I remember the first year I wanted to go, I didn't know if I had the money to. I didn't want to make payments on it, and I regretted it. So next year came by, and I was like, this is my chance. And I saw Trisha was going. So I was like, this is my chance to make a friend and grow my business. And it was so worth it because I can't even imagine how long it would have taken me to learn the things I learned there in a week and the accountability that came after it.
We've had quite a few people say that. I remember Joe Walsh saying that it was like an MBA experience. You remember that, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
actually tried to get my I'm in this part of my life now where I'm really trying to find balance with my kids and my work. And like I worked my butt off starting this company, and I sacrificed so much time with my family, and I'm to the point now where I just really want to just be with my family and my kids as much as I can now. And so I'm bringing them on trips, right? And I was just talking to my 17-year-old the other day because she's got to decide, is she going to go to college right after high school? Is she going to not? I personally think she's very burnt out. She did a lot of AP courses and just a lot of college level stuff in high school, and she's tired. And so we're talking about having her, take some time off. And I suggested, I'm like, why don't you just start going with me to all of my business classes? And I'm like, you can literally get, basically a business degree just from following your mom around to all my stuff, and she's like, okay, I don't know. I still got to get her on board with it, but it's true though. You could just learn so much from just experience and seeing different operations and just everything.
My daughter's actually here at the office. She was, as soon as I got in here, she had something for me to sign.
Yeah.
Your daughter was at the convention also, wasn't she, Matt? Is that the same daughter?
Yeah, probably about the same age as Trisha's daughter. She's a junior in high school, so I only get her at home 1 more year. So yeah, take her to as much stuff as we can.
Yeah, she tells me she doesn't like to travel, and I'm like, kid, your mother is giving you like free trips like around the United States. Just get in the damn plane, like, come on.
So I think that was a really good example, Trisha, of you could have a really soft heart and still be a hard ass.
Yeah.
Really good job. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I love you, but I hate you. Give me a hug. No.
We're going to fight through this, but we're going to win. I think, Sarah, I think this was you that said this about Trisha, that she was charging you to stay in, she was sharing your room, and she should have paid you, but instead she charged you because you kept the heat up too high.
Oh, I did. She discounted for, yeah, she found ways to itemize some deductions.
I did not. You dirty liar. But I did get a discount because I slept on the pull-out mattress.
Yeah, and I was willing to discount that if I had the bed to myself.
Size bed all to herself, and I slept on the couch. So you're damn right. I paid less.
So that's what happens when you know your numbers. You know how to, you know how to negotiate good terms.
Sarah's bougie, and she's like, I'll just have my own room to myself. And I'm like, I'll sleep on a cot on anyone's floor. I'm not too prideful.
It's true. You're not.
I told Ben Ferris the other day, I'm like, we could just like get air mattresses and sleep under houses. Like, was probably a pretty good deal.
No,
you know, because the houses are like above.
What, you're gonna sleep with like the animals and the pests? No,
We'll bring like a tent, you know.
And all the animals are gonna be in Sarah's hair. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. No, Ben
And
Sarah would never
meanwhile,
do it.
I have to have the best room.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, we have me over here is like, oh, I know the value of money, and I want the ocean view. I want the king room.
I was gonna say, I just went to Phoenix, and Sarah got a room at this really nice hotel, so she didn't have to drive 40 minutes because it was kind of far from her house, and it was not a cheap hotel. Like it was a 4-star hotel. It was pretty nice. So,
what are the benefits of having a successful business?
Okay, that's nothing, y'all. Sarah asked me literally this week, are you doing foundation scale again next year, Liz? We haven't even done it yet. It's not till April. She wants to know if we're doing it next year because she wants to get the best room. She's already planning.
I'm already done planning this year. I have to start planning next year. We're already in March.
Because when we go places, I have to message Ben and Sarah, and I'm like, why am I going here? Like, I don't, not foundations, but like, as an example, like we went somewhere last week and I didn't even know why I was getting on a plane. I'm like, where are we staying? Do we have a car?
We usually get a message a couple weeks before, like, why are we going to Austin again? Did you guys, we help her book her flights. We make sure everything's booked for Trisha because we're the planners.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care. Just put me wherever, you know?
Yeah.
So
and Sarah's going to do the planning.
How many people are coming to foundations this year? How many guests do you have so far?
Well, we have 12 rooms at foundations. So we have a room open right now. We could bring somebody into foundations. We'd love it. Plus, we always have some of these rooms that have beds that people can share, right? Multiple beds. And that's a Trisha kind of a person. It was like, yeah, throw me 300 room. I'm going to save some money.
I
And
mean,
even when we're out of
4 beds.
And even when we're out of rooms,
you guys. Oh, sorry, Tom. Finish your thought.
No, that's fine. Even when we're out of rooms, people will get like Airbnb somewhere nearby and come over for the training sessions and basically live there for the week anyway. But you know, they have a bed offsite.
You know, the best part, one of the best parts of foundations, I think is undervalued a bit, is after you're learning all day, you think you would be burnt out because it is all day and you can go out on the beach and take a quick breather to catch up on lunch break. But at the end of the day, when everyone talks for hours on that back porch, and it is the best mastermind ever because you're going through the ideas and you're getting to talk to everyone, hearing the different businesses. And I found that to be like almost as powerful as the classes themselves, like the conversations that happen every night when everybody doesn't have to scatter and go back to a hotel when everyone's just there. That's powerful. That's worth going just itself.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I'm going to this one here. Matt won't be at Foundations. He was presenting, but he'll be at Foundation Scale this year. All 3 of these guys will be at Foundation Scale. Tom is on the fence here, deciding if he's going.
Somebody told me Tom was going.
Yeah, he's on the fence about whether
he's going to come.
I didn't hear that Trisha wanted me to go, so I'm.
Trisha wants you to go.
Tom,
I heard that Trisha wanted Matt, and he
Matt.
was
That's what I heard. I heard Trisha wanted Matt. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll stay home.
Well, that's because Tom, I see you about every block or so, and so, you know.
That's nice.
I hope the selfish way you guys spell it out. I think it's the more people in the industry that are like successful, the more people that are pushing on their businesses to grow and create better wages and create better jobs. It's so good for all of us. So like every company you get up above $1 million just makes this makes this journey a little easier for all the rest of us to have like a peer group that's expanding. So yeah, selfishly, I hope you get 10 extra people get an Airbnb next door and you got them coming in for the day. It's the education is, you talk about an MBA. I don't have an MBA, but there's things that I learned there that I didn't learn in like some high level courses in aviation, and like, there's some tough math there that like, you guys broke down that made a lot of sense by the time we were done. And I took a lot of upper level math classes in college. So it's not that it's hard. It's just that it's not accessible unless you have, somebody to teach it to you.
But not to scare anybody. We've done this a bunch of times before, and we've figured out if you need, we start you out where you need to be. And we've got classes that kind of start off with basic numbers and build you up to that point. Or if you've already got the numbers, then you kind of do a one-on-one. And there's a lot of different ways to get you to where we want you to be by the end of the week. So if you don't already, have a strong background in math, don't let that scare you.
Or any. You don't really have to, with the systems and stuff, you don't have to be good at math, because you're going to plug in numbers. You have to go find numbers and let the system do it. It's just learning.
Liz, you know how much I am into math and spreadsheets.
Yes.
I wasn't that way before Foundations. I became that way because of that Foundations spreadsheet, that sheet. What's that called? That Foundations thing with all the tabs. And I became obsessed with numbers and strategy. And that's when my analytical brain, like, I don't think I was as high of a C before that. And that's where it all happened, was Foundations.
I did not know that.
I wasn't either, to be honest. I took that spreadsheet and I fed all of our marketing data into that. Now I feed all of our reporting, and it kind of like we updated in real time as part of a multi-tab spreadsheet that we use. But it's the foundation of our management system in our business now. Like, basically everything feeds that spreadsheet. And we've tweaked it a little bit to make it ours, right? But it's that the data, the foundational model is the model that I've built my business around, at least the financial model, right? On how we run, the business financially.
I remember a one-on-one we had at the mansion, Matt, and we were talking about some of the vanity numbers and the ones that really matter and some of the opportunities. And you took that and you ran with it.
I did. I mean, there was a time where I thought just customer count, like all that stuff really matters. And it does, right? Like, I'm happy that we have but let me tell you a funny story is, we have the same number of technicians that I had this time last year doing around 33% more revenue.
Nice.
Because we've increased the amount of revenue per day that our techs can do through all of this. Yeah. So I know companies that are our size in revenue, like that might have 70 or 75 techs. We've got 42, but they're benefits. They're all making the kind of wages I talked about before. And
that's how you pay them $25 an hour.
Right. Because they're producing closer to $400 a day. I mean, I took all the data that I saw there and was like, this is what matters. Like, selling all the cleaning jobs in the world, if our turnover is 300%, isn't going to do it. Right. Like, that's like the industry norm at the time was like, everyone was like, hush, hush, like, what's your turnover? And 290 kind of been like, I was kind of benchmarking it, and 290 was the number that I was coming up with. I think the data, though, like, people can plug their numbers in and find some really unique levers in their business that they should be pushing on. And for us, it was generating more per technician per day so that they could make more money. So we had to get really good at efficiency, really good at job costing. God, I don't even think I cared back before Foundations. Like, if we made a little, we lost a little. I made that joke earlier, but it's like every job we're evaluating now, every job we need to be making enough money that our people are making good money.
You were like Dollar Tree before, Matt. You were like a really fancy Dollar Tree. Like,
we could sell anything. We had really fancy marketing, and it was like all show and no go. Like, yeah, we were at $2 million, but the profit margins on that were probably 10%. And that's a little lean for for what it really takes to the effort and the risk that you're putting into have a business that size.
I feel like
What else we got?
And I'm like, I feel like we have a whole bunch. I had a whole bunch to say right there.
Yep.
One thing that we haven't talked about at all is marketing. So there is a lot of I think that's actually we talked about it the other day when we had Olu on here. We talked quite a bit about marketing.
How did the quote webinar go today, Tom? Like that's kind of a marketing related thing, or more sales, I guess.
Well, it was what were we doing? Our core KPI of the month in Main Central is conversion rate, recurring jobs per quote, and we kind of did a deep dive on that. Aja took the lead on that, and it went well. It was well attended, and there's a ton of ways that you can drive that number up. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Yeah, it was well attended. We do one of those a month, first Wednesday of every month. I just want to point out real quick, Tom. I just want to point out to what you're saying, so you can get back to that. Is it was not that long ago that people didn't even know what a KPI was in this industry. Right.
That's. I didn't know before 2018 and foundations. Yeah. I went upstairs and cried when they started presenting KPIs because I had no idea what they were talking about. And I went upstairs and got overwhelmed and cried. And then I came down and was like, all right, give me some spreadsheets. I want to learn this. And I was years into my business and I never heard of a KPI.
That's just crazy. All right. So all of y'all that are like, oh my gosh, I want to be like Sarah Mitchell when I grow up. There you go. She didn't even know what a KPI was when she first went to foundation. So you don't have to worry that you're not ready. We hear that a lot. I don't know the stuff. I can't even do the pre-work. I can't fill out any of the stuff. Start where you are. You don't. What's the saying? When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. Right. We just said that before, and I've heard that come up like at least 20 times in the last week. Still true. Sorry, Tom, I pulled you off track with that KPI that you're doing each month.
Tammy wants to know about the recording from today. We'll be posting that in our Facebook groups when the video is ready, so it'll be out there in another day or so. Thing we haven't talked about is, we have a little bit of fun at foundations as well. I mean, I know that we work hard and we talk a lot about that, but we eat well. We are on the beach. Sometimes everybody takes their clothes off and runs in the water. I mean, there's all kinds of stories that
That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened.
Who does that?
People aren't admitting to something.
No, okay, well.
Not supposed to call out the stuff.
Okay.
You know what's awesome though? What's awesome though is it's so much information, but it's right on a beach. And if you walk out and turn left, it's half a mile to the pier. So you have time to walk there and back between classes, and it refreshes your brain. It gives you the oomph to keep going and retain more information, and that's where it's at. Is the beach is right there.
It's a beautiful setting.
It really does work for so many people. How many people get up early in the morning, even though they're up all night, right, doing all their masterminding forever or playing games or whatever in the hot tub, and get up early to go check out the sunset? I mean, the sunrise, right?
Sarah Mitchell was always the number one out there. She was the first one.
It's a really good time of year. I think the timing should work out perfect where it's rising in time to go walk and then get ready for class. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
We got scale.
I don't think that is completely accurate. I think Olu said that.
I remember that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we're providing CPB Speedos this year for the two of you. I'm so excited.
We're going to need a lot of sunscreen for Tom.
Plus, I love
Trisha.
It's funny. Yeah. I think we do talk a lot about how fun it is. But there is, it's both sides. It's very well-rounded.
It's a really good balance.
Yeah, I feel like it is a good balance. Right. It's a little bit hard for people I mean, let's call out the hard stuff too. It's a little bit hard for some people who are coming and things are rocky in their businesses, and they're like, "How do I get away for a week?"
Yeah.
Who was it? Chris Willett lost. Did he lose every single one of his employees? I think.
He sat on that couch next to me with like all of his staff quitting, and he had the biggest smile on his face. And I'm like, Chris, how are you so good right now? And he's like, I'm not. But he handled it, right? And he rebuilt, and he's stronger.
Now, right? How much bigger is he now? Yeah, he's like, I don't know, he's over a couple million now.
Well, he made Inc. 5000 regionals this year, which means he's probably in good company. I mean, that's 80% growth over 3 years to qualify.
Wow.
So, and at least 2 million. So yeah, that's the minimum qualifiers for the regionals. So he's doing pretty good.
Awesome. Proud of him.
I know. So that is sort of, don't forget that if you're one of the people that's thinking, I can't, I can't do it. I can't get away.
And he just had a child, right? Or his wife. I mean,
last week.
So if it's Joey, he's not spending all his time working.
What's that book? I feel like I might have it, but it's like Let Your Business Burn, or what is that called?
Yeah, that's it. Scott Beebe.
Do you remember? But it's like it's basically
we got that last year
at scale.
We got that at scale.
Did we? Okay. That's just allowing. Well, no wonder I have it then. Is just to allow, if you're a small business and you're struggling and you don't think you can't get away, you're the perfect person that needs to go to foundations and scale. Is that you need to learn how to be able to make it. So that's not a situation. What I'm really proud about now is that I have a general manager, I have an operations manager. All three of us can get on a plane and go somewhere at the same time together, and the business runs fine. To me, that's something that makes me very proud, because, I remember years ago when I couldn't, I worked 18 hours a day, legit, for years.
And so did your people.
So did my people. I worked my freaking people like bad. And, I couldn't go anywhere. And then the next, when I hired, when Iris worked her way up the ranks, well, she couldn't go anywhere. And now we've got it to where now we have a general manager as well. And all three of us went somewhere a couple of months ago. And it was so cool to be at the table and see my management team enjoying dinner and enjoying learning and everything else. And while everyone, a lot of other people were frantic and stressed and checking in with their office, my people were just enjoying life. And that was to me, when I felt successful at that moment. I thought, okay, not only can I get away, but my people can, and my company still operates. That made me proud.
Nice. I love that, Trisha.
So we are running up on top of the hour here, and I guess don't want to miss an opportunity, Liz, to share a little bit if anybody wants to know more about what we're going to be doing in 1 week, 2 days, 5 hours, 3 minutes, and yada yada yada. What's the action plan?
What is I can't see the, what is it? Foundations.com or cleaningfoundations.com?
Cleaningfoundations.com. Yeah, I'll drop that URL in the chat. How about that?
All right. Yep. So if you are on the fence, if you're the person like Trisha was, or no, maybe it was Sarah, that said, okay, I can't do it this year. I'm gonna have to wait. If that's you, what did you say, Sarah?
I didn't think I could pull it off financially or get away from my business, and I regretted it for a whole year. And I could have been a year ahead in everything had I done that.
And probably not even 1 year ahead, because everything compounds, right? You.
Aww. Look at that one.
Then you would have gone 2 years in a row, because you'd have still gone the next year because Trisha was going.
Yeah. We actually have been a couple of times. That's how much value we got out of foundations. Yeah. We went again when our businesses got bigger to relearn the things at that level, and got just as much out of it the second round.
That's not unusual. A lot of people do that.
I felt like I couldn't even retain. There was so much knowledge thrown my way that I went back and I did a lot of the work, right? But I thought there's still so much more to learn.
Yeah. It's funny, no matter what you are learning, there's, oh, hi Aja. I'm so excited that Aja's going to be there this year.
Don't rub it in. We're jealous.
I know. I'm so sorry. I know. It's super exciting.
Well, then, Liz, didn't we push you for scale? Because we're like, we want to keep doing these things. And we've already been through foundations a couple times, teach us more and more. And then I think we're the ones who like forced you lovingly to do scale.
Sarah, you specifically, remember you said at foundations, I said, okay, well, and you were like, here's $10,000, Liz. I was like, all right, I guess scale's happening. She literally gave me $10,000. I was like, all right.
Well, I'll tell the story. There was a time when we really weren't going to do foundations anymore. Yep. And Trisha and Sarah and I guess Heather as well.
And Nina maybe too.
Nina, yeah, there were several that really wanted us to do it. And it's like, well, I'll tell you what, if you guys sell it for us, we'll do it. And you guys sold it out in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And I even tell people, like, as I was selling it, like, I'm like, I am being 100% selfish here by selling you this because I want to go again, because I want to soak in more and more knowledge that I need this to happen. And so you're going to learn because I want to learn. And all those people ended up with, like I said, damn near master's degree in business from leaving it. So.
And now scale is such an amazing opportunity for the next level businesses. So I'm super excited about this year and the speakers. And I think there's a couple rooms left if anyone wants to be with the cool kids.
There's 2 rooms left. That's a bigger mansion. We have 16, or the chateau. We have 16 rooms there. But
that's crazy.
And we only have 2 there. 2 left. All right. I think we are coming up on it. Anybody have final last words? Aww.
This was fun. I'm so excited for scale now after this conversation.
Sarah, are you sure? Did you pick your bedroom yet so everybody else can pick their rooms?
It took 6 hours.
You wouldn't even believe. We sat in the damn room with Ben and Sarah arguing and looking at rooms. And I just said, you guys just choose a room.
Well, that's because you were going to sleep under the house.
I know. And then they were arguing about who was going to get me. Well, this room goes with Trisha, so whoever takes this room has to get Trisha. And I'm like, I feel like they're not fighting for me. I feel like they're fighting to get rid of me.
We all know that's not true.
Well, we are at the top of the hour. So again, cleaningfoundations.com. If you want to know more, hit us up. Matt, Trisha, Sarah, thank you all. This was fun. We need to do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scale. We'll be doing it, Tom. Will you be doing it?
Yeah, Tom, you have to come to scale.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Trisha, I'm just kidding.
If you don't come, Tom, I'm going to have to bring my own Tom.
You'll just find some doppelganger. Yeah, I don't know. There's like a half a dozen of them in Phoenix from what I recall.
I'm going to bring the hillbilly Tom.
No, please don't.
He's my favorite. Okay. Thanks.
Bye,
we'll be back next Wednesday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Bye-bye.